Amidst the throngs of people, one man stood out, not for his height or his build, but for the color of his skin. Kofi, a young black man, had grown accustomed to the curious glances and suspicious stares that followed him wherever he went. He had learned to navigate the complexities of a society that often seemed determined to hold him back. As he walked down the street, Kofi couldn't help but notice the way people reacted to him. Some crossed the street to avoid him, while others clutched their purses or wallets a little tighter. It was as if they expected him to be a threat, simply because of the color of his skin. Kofi sighed inwardly, wondering why things had to be this way. He was a bright and ambitious young man, with a degree in engineering and a promising career ahead of him. But despite his many accomplishments, he knew that he would always face an uphill battle in a society that seemed determined to hold him back. As he turned a corner, Kofi noticed a group of young white men eyeing him from across the street. They were laughing and joking, but their eyes seemed to hold a sinister intent. Kofi's instincts told him to be wary, and he quickened his pace, anxious to get away from the group. But as he walked, he could feel their eyes on him, boring into his skin like a cold, hard weight. He knew that he was being sized up, evaluated, and judged, not on his character or his abilities, but on the color of his skin. Kofi's anger simmered just below the surface, threatening to boil over at any moment. He knew that he couldn't let it get the better of him, but it was hard to keep his cool when faced with such blatant racism. As he approached his apartment building, Kofi noticed a police car parked outside. His heart sank, wondering if there had been a break-in or some other incident. But as he approached the entrance, he saw two officers standing in the lobby, eyeing him suspiciously. "Can we help you?" one of them asked gruffly, their hand resting on their gun. Kofi felt a surge of fear, knowing that he was being profiled. "I live here," he replied calmly, trying to keep his voice steady. The officers exchanged a skeptical glance. Before one of them asked to see Kofi's ID, Kofi hesitated for a moment, wondering if he was being singled out because of his race. But he knew that he had to cooperate, so he slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. As the officers examined his ID, Kofi couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He knew that he was being judged, not on his character or his actions, but on the color of his skin. It was a feeling that he had grown all too familiar with, but it still stung every time. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the officers handed Kofi his ID back and nodded curtly. "You're free to go," one of them said gruffly. Kofi breathed a sigh of relief as he walked away from the officers, wondering if he would ever be able to escape the racism that seemed to follow him wherever he went. He knew that he wasn't alone in his struggles, that there were countless others who faced the same challenges and injustices every day. As he entered his apartment, Kofi felt a sense of exhaustion wash over him. He knew that he couldn't give up, that he had to keep fighting for a world where people were judged on their character, not their skin color. But for now, he just wanted to rest, to forget about the racism and the injustice, and to simply be. The next morning, Kofi woke up feeling refreshed and renewed. He knew that he had a long day ahead of him, but he was determined to face it head-on. As he got dressed and ready for work, he felt a sense of purpose and resolve. He knew that he couldn't change the world overnight, but he was determined to do his part, one step at a time. As he walked out of his apartment, Kofi felt a sense of hope that he hadn't felt in a long time. He knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but he was ready for the challenge. He was ready to face the racism and the injustice head-on, and to fight for a world where everyone was treated with dignity and respect. The sun was shining brightly as Kofi walked to work, casting a warm glow over the city. It was a new day, full of new possibilities and new challenges, and Kofi was ready to face them all, with courage, determination, and a fierce commitment to justice.